Welcome back to Whatever You Need, the channel that pulls back velvet ropes and reveals what fame often hides beneath its glitter. If you cherish the raw backstage tales of celebrities, not the PR-crafted snapshots, but the uneasy, unpolished truths, you're in the right place. Before we begin, do us a favor, hit subscribe, tap join to support Whatever You Need, and press like if you want more deep dives like this. Your support keeps this kind of reporting alive. Tonight we trace a troubling arc. A man once synonymous with strength and controlled ambition whose public aura has, in recent months, been quietly altered. This is not merely gossip arranged for dramatic effect. It is the collage of whispers, branded appearances, and personal silences that together suggest something deeper is happening to Yaman. And at the center of that change, according to multiple tabloid dispatches and close sources, stands a woman named Sarah. To recall the older image is to remember a figure carved out of intent, disciplined workouts, relentless rehearsals, and a strategic move to Italy that many considered the beginning of a transnational career. With Sandokan rumored to open doors beyond Turkey, with international endorsements and glossy features on his horizon, can seem to be carefully drafting a lifetime resume of achievement. The cameras loved the polish, industry figures admired the commitment. For a while, everything fit the script of Ascent, an actor with a clear plan, a body of work that suggested longevity, and a presence that translated on both small and large screens. Yet when a personal life blooms under the eyes of the public, its petals can conceal sharp edges, and the first scratch in this story came when a new figure entered his orbit. Initially, Sarah appeared to be another luminous chapter in a love story fans wanted to believe. Couples photos, syncopated smiles, and carefully curated outings painted a portrait of mutual enchantment, an alluring, modern romance that fit the press release of celebrity life. But as months passed, whispers emerged that the partnership was less spontaneous and more engineered. Sources cited by gossip columns claim Sarah's influence was not limited to the private sphere. According to these accounts, she began shaping the cadence of Can's public life, which interviews he offered, which collaborations were pursued, and even the tone of his social media content. Where fans once read candid warmth, insiders began to detect the outline of a plan. We must stress, these are the claims being circulated in tabloids and by unnamed acquaintances. They are not court findings, they are the pattern one sees when many small, independent reports start to align. Observers noticed the change in tone. The man who once spoke at length, and with a contagious fervor now delivers clipped responses. Where warmth lingered in candid exchanges, now a reserve resides. This is not merely the tiredness of relentless scheduling, it is a consistent reduction of presence that multiple sources interpret as retreat. Friends who had been close for years started describing him in private as quieted, more withdrawn, and not himself. Again, these are the words of those who claim intimacy with him, not our assertions of fact. A recurring theme among reports is the tension between affection and control. Some insiders paint Sarah as fiercely intelligent and autonomous, qualities that the public admires in any partner. Yet other accounts, pieced together from conversations with people who claim proximity to the couple, depict a dynamic where influence deepens into dependency. These sources suggest Sarah identified emotional vulnerabilities and, rather than nurturing them, used those openings to concentrate decision-making power. The result, they claim, was a role reversal. The star who previously directed his path found himself increasingly guided by another's preferences. It is crucial to read these allegations with care. They are the kind of narrative that tabloids amplify, and while they may cohere into a plausible story, they remain claims rather than proven conclusions. What they do signal, however, is a public perception shift. The hero of his own career narrative now appears, through the lens of gossip, to be enacting someone else's script. When private turbulence bleeds into production schedules, the fallout is not merely tabloid fodder, it affects contractual trust, creative timelines, and long-term career capital. Whether these disruptions are the result of personal choices, external pressures, or a combination of many small, human errors, the consequence is tangible. A faltering momentum that had been painstakingly built is now wobbling. Alongside reports of withdrawn behavior, another pattern surfaced in public life, a series of appearances and moments that tabloids interpreted as erratic or indulgent. Late-night events, extravagant outings, and moments that read as performative began to populate the timeline. This juxtaposition, more partying on the surface, less contentment underneath, is the sort of contradiction that fuels speculative narratives. To fans who remember a focused, almost ascetic pursuit of craft, these scenes jarred. To others, they suggested the trappings of fame simply doing what they always do, exposing brittle foundations. Again, sources differ. Some frame these behaviors as a cry for escape, others as evidence of a man attempting to reclaim autonomy in visible, albeit messy, ways. It is a delicate paradox. Refusing to perform can be both surrender and rebellion. For many who observe the arc of his public life, the silence has become an urgent, unsent note, a message transmitted not through flamboyant gestures but through restraint. Amid the swirl of speculation, a hopeful thread appears. Some insiders assert that Can has been contemplating a return to Turkey, not a retreat, they say, but a recalibration. A new project, a reset of his public narrative, a return to the kinds of roles that solidified his reputation. These whisperings, if true, could signal the start of a conscious reclaiming of agency. If a homecoming were to materialize, the outcome would be more than a career pivot. It might be an attempt to realign public perception with private intention. A move like this would not erase rumors or erase pain. It could, however, provide a stage upon which he might narrate his own comeback. Now it's your turn, whatever you need, family. What do you make of all this? Do you read the tabloid's portrait as genuine manipulation, or as the kind of embellishment that inevitably follows anyone whose life goes public? Would you like to see Can return to Turkey and rebuild, or do you think a quieter, less visible recovery is healthier? Tell us in the comments. The best replies might be featured in our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join to support investigative storytelling. If there are Turkish celebrities you want us to follow next, name them below. We'll chase the truth, not the gossip. This is not a courtroom verdict nor an obituary. It is an open-ended chronicle of perception, rumor, and the fragile interplay between personal choice and public consequence. Whether the narrative resolves as tragedy, rebirth, or something more ambiguous depends on decisions still being made out of the public eye. If Yaman chooses to step back into roles that reflect his earliest strengths, to align his public persona with the discipline that characterized his rise, then this chapter may be remembered as the prelude to a dramatic comeback. If not, the tale will stand as yet another cautionary ledger in the ledger book of modern celebrity, a reminder that the brightest lights cast the longest shadows. Thank you for watching and listening to Whatever You Need. If this report resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a thoughtful comment, and if you want to help us keep producing these deep dives, click join. Your support matters. Until our next investigation, stay curious, stay compassionate, and remember that behind every headline there is a person whose story deserves more than a snapshot.